Hello and welcome to Nintendo Nostalgia, episode 22. I'm your host, Jacob Rush, and I'm with my co-host, Ryan Black, and we are back and we are playing with power. Ryan, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, Switch is going.
Switch is going.
I am wonderful. I've got a con coming up in 2 weeks. It's a gaming convention, and I'm going to take the Switch, and of course I got the Global Test Fire this weekend. I'm a little leery because I've been having some issues with my Switch, but I'll get into that later in the episode. So,
I'm thrilled. This episode, I've been looking forward to it. Not that the reason why is because it's just you and me tonight, and it's not that we don't enjoy having guests. We love having guests. It's great. It's fun. Adds more to the show. But the first 10, 11 episodes of this show, it was just you and me. And that's the majority of what the show should be, I think. And have our guests come here and there. And it's just fun. We started out on this journey together, and it's great to get back. I know we have lots more guests lined up, so we do plan on having more guests over the next couple months here. But no, it's just good to be with you, man. I love you, and I'm very thankful to just have you as a co-host.
Thanks. You're a great host, man.
Thank you. If I can just get your name right every time in the intro, that would help.
So you may be wondering, I don't know if people are hearing me echo, but I am actually in a very echoey room because I have someone moving into the area, the same area where I record. So it's going to be very noisy there. So I had to find another place with a plug that has 3 prongs. And the only other place I could find that had 3 prongs that was in a quiet location was in my upstairs bathroom. So I'm now sitting in my clawfoot tub recording.
That's how we do it here in Nintendo Nostalgia. We find a way. It doesn't matter where we have to do it. We find a way. I'm proud of you, Ryan. So maybe, does this mean you're going to start taking baths while we record?
I don't know anything about that, but I've got the cat to keep me company, so you might see her walk across the screen if you're watching. So,
okay. Well, before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our good buddy who was a guest a while back, James from Life of Gaming podcast. I know him and I talk a lot behind the scenes, and I just know that he's got a lot going on right now. And, he's James, you're in my thoughts and you're in my prayers more than anything. And I just want to say thank you for your support and thank you for everything you do for Nintendo Nostalgia, because your friendship means a lot to me and just to Ryan. And, I think all of us podcasters are in this together, and we try to help each other out in any way we can with our shows and even just in our own personal lives. So, James, just praying for you, buddy, and your family, and care about you a lot. So, just wanted to throw that out there. But Ryan, so you mentioned something about your Switch. What's going on, man?
So over the weekend, I had a scare. On Friday, I got home from doing the St. Paddy's Day festivities, and I went to power on my Switch, and nothing happened.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, okay, that's weird. So then I plugged it into a charger, and it just started blinking. Like, it would blink a blank screen with a little bitty charge symbol in the corner, and then it would flash off. It'd be power off again. And it'd do that. It'd just do it a few times, and then it'd go solid black. And like, oh, great, that's not good. So I'm like, well, let me try plugging it into a dock. So I plugged it into the dock, or I slid it into the dock, and it would flash green on the dock. Then it would flash off green, and then the actual screen on the Switch would light up and do that little charge symbol thing again. I'm like, oh, great, that's not good. It's like, well, maybe if I just sit and let it charge for a little bit. So I'm like, I'm not going to play Zelda tonight. I'm just going to leave it on the dock and go to bed. So it'll be charged in the morning. It'll be all fine. So I come down the next morning, Saturday morning, and I pull it off the dock, and I go to power it on. Nothing. So I'm freaking out by this point. I'm like, oh no, this is horrible. I get on with Nintendo. I'm like, hey, I need this thing fixed. And I hit the power button on my Switch, and without any chargers or anything connected, and the Nintendo logo popped up. Like, okay, good. And then the Nintendo logo shut off. And then I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh great, my battery is fried. Like I'm freaking out. Like I wanted to play Zelda and I can't. And so like, okay, I set up the repair and I go to the UPS store and I have them printing out the label. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Before I put this in the box, let me just try one more time to power it on. And I powered it on and it booted up. It said I had 4% battery left, which it was on the charge overnight. Like, so, but it's 4% battery. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go home like right now. So I just left her there and I went home and I plugged it in immediately. And so it was charging up and it was actually gaining battery and I got it to about 90%. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to like, try playing a game on it. It was working just fine. I pulled it off the charger eventually. No problems. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a scare for me.
Yeah.
I'm still having some issues. Like if I plug it into a dock, it's not charging. So after the test fire and after the weekend con, I'm going to send it in and have it repaired because there's something wrong with the battery. Almost as if the battery is popping out away from the contacts and like popping back in or something. It's
But it charges off the dock, right? It'll charge off the dock.
No, it won't.
So it won't charge it all. How are you still able to play it?
I'm able to plug in just straight with an extra charge cord that I have. I bought an extra AC adapter, official Nintendo one, and I'm able to charge with that.
Are you sure it's not just the cord in the dock that you initially had?
I've tried a different cord and a different dock, and it wasn't working. So,
wow, I'm sorry that you're going through that, man. I understand the frustration, and gosh, I'd be right there with you. I'd be really ticked off, and no, we wouldn't scream we hate Nintendo and run away. We, this crap happens and it sucks. It's just.
It's like when it powered on, like I was sure to like immediately put it into airplane mode. Like I can't let this thing die again.
Right.
And even since then, like Sunday, I'd go to like pull my system out of sleep mode, and it had powered itself completely off. It would still start up, but it would start up as if I had hard turned it off and then turned it back on again. So there's something screwy going on with that. So,
wow, I know with my Switch, I've mentioned it before. This is kind of a cool discussion because Bobby just asked people what any issues that they're having. I don't know if you saw his video, but he made a video of things that was happening for him and his Switch that he freaked out about, kind of like similar. It reminds me of your story, and I guess one was like he would have sound when he had it in portable mode, but as soon as he put it in the dock, there would be no sound, and like the TV was up and all that. And I guess it was weird, something like he had to plug in his headphones in the headphone jack while it was docked, and then take it out, and then that put the sound back to the TV.
Weird glitches.
Yeah, very weird. I still have issues with that stupid minus button. Like Ryan and I, we were actually recording like a half hour late because we literally got on the podcast to record, and we each were playing Zelda for like 25 minutes and just kind of casually talking to each other while we were playing. But my minus button was working. It's one of those things where it kind of seems like it works fine the more I play the game. But like as soon as I started it up this evening to play it, I literally counted. It took me like 30 pushes on the minus button for the map to pull up.
Oh, wow.
I was like 1, 2, 3. I don't know what the deal is. It's very annoying because when I use the Pro, like there's no issue whatsoever. So, I mean, I guess what I'm kind of hoping is that when Nintendo releases more Joy-Cons down the road, I just kind of hope like all these little knick-knack issues kind of go away with future iterations of the controller, which I assume they will. I'm not too worried about it. But so that's really the only issues I've had. Besides when a day after I got my Switch, my right Joy-Con would not turn on at all, was not responsive, but the left one was, and the system was fine. And then like literally after just fidgeting with it for like a minute, it literally got some juice in it and turned on. And when it did, it said it was like in the red, kind of like similar to your Switch. to where like it was just like completely like did not charge at night, but the left one did. But I haven't had that issue since. It's fully charged right now. So yeah, little being early adopters, you're going to run into these things, guys. But if you're one of the people that's going to get a Switch in Christmas time, or maybe even a year out from this year, that's you get the benefit of these things getting kinked out, worked out, and stuff. So, well, Ryan, I think we should get into our news and discussions. Go ahead. What'd you bring for us this week, man?
I like the support I'm hearing for the Switch. Like, I'm loving all the positive news. Like GameStop's head just came up today, and it's just like, I seriously think that like this is going to outsell the Wii, and that's huge because the Wii sold so many.
Yeah,
and that's just it's so great to hear, and hearing like third-party developers like, we want to develop for the Switch. Now it may be difficult, but we might develop. Like fingers crossed for Overwatch. But just I'm so happy about the Switch news. Like I'm so stoked that it's something to be super proud of, and like everyone else is like hyped about it. It's not just like Nintendo fans. It's everyone else too. Is like, oh, I gotta get one of those. Like they're doing a restock. Like some stores are getting them today, some stores are getting them in tomorrow. Like, and it's not like this NES Mini fiasco
that we still can't find.
I know it's so bad, but it's so good to see the Switch getting this support.
I mean, let's face it, the NES Mini is not their number one priority right now.
Yeah,
they have other things they are focused on, which is the Switch, and they are continuing to work diligently to get the online service worked up. I guarantee you, I really feel like we're going to hear something about online within the first part of April, because Mario Kart 8 is coming deluxe, and I really think that that's their big online game. And I think that I would think that they would want to have their online services up and working well, and everyone knows the plan for their first big online use game like that. So, no, you're so right though. I know just people at work who were not on board with Switch, like, oh, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see how this plays out. And then they, lo and behold, I have my days off and I'm getting my Switch and I'm playing Zelda, and they hear all the Zelda hype, and now they're like, I had a guy admit to me today, he's like, yesterday, he was like, man, you were right. I should have gone and got a Switch at launch. I knew I should have done that. You were right. And I'm like, that's what I'm saying, man. So he's really trying to get one tomorrow, hoping that GameStop, because we record on Tuesday, so tomorrow's Wednesday. He's really hoping that GameStop announcement is effective, everywhere and at his local GameStop. So, and I hope so, because he really wants to get it for Zelda, and he has a Wii U, and I've been telling him, just be patient, just be patient. And it was kind of frustrating because he was like blaming, like, he's like, Nintendo, they always do this. They always are out of stock on their systems. And I'm like, yeah, they have had issues like that in the past, but I'm like, the Switch, like, there's no excuse. Like, they've released 2 million. You knew about it. You had your options. Like, they were easy to get. And I know that seems crazy if you're looking for one now and you can, but like, you and I, we didn't pre-order ours the night they announced it. We pre-ordered it the next day. We got our pre-orders in, and even when we went to the store, there was extras there. Yeah, I know many people who went out the night of or the day of, and they didn't have any pre-orders, and they just went out and got one. Like our good listener Jesse Armstrong, he didn't pre-order one at all, and he went to a store and he got it. He got one that night. Tom's another great example. Our third part-time co-host, Tom, went out with us to the GameStop, traded in all of his Xbox stuff. Very proud of him for that. Put it all so he can get the Switch. So that he didn't have pre-ordered. So, it's really cool. I with the support that Switch is getting. And
Yeah.
I said it an episode or two ago with Kevin on, I said, it feels so much more different and better and enjoyable to enjoy your system and to know that everyone else is enjoying it.
Yes. My cousin was one of those few that were unfortunate and didn't get a Switch when it was releasing and everything. But he's like on the sites every day, like looking, just like, when are they going to do this? When are they going to do this? I think he called a Toys R Us, and this was like maybe less than a week ago. He called the Toys R Us, and they're like, "Hey," it's like, "Do you guys have any Switches?" And like, "Well, there's a Switch here that someone didn't pick up for their pre-order, and
What?
it's past that day. So if you want to come in and get that, come in and get it." And so like he went over there and he got that.
Wow, good for him.
He's so lucky.
I mean, that poor sap, that's their own fault, I guess. But wow, good for him. He gets Zelda, I assume.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He's like, "Man, I've got so much homework tonight, but as soon as I'm done, I'm playing Zelda."
My one fear is that, and I hope this doesn't happen, but I just feel like I'm afraid everyone's just going to jump on, like all these extra people who haven't been with Nintendo for a long time, and they're just going to play Zelda, and then they're just going to be done with Nintendo again. Like,
yeah, trade it in at GameStop or whatever.
Yeah, like, oh, that was nice. Okay, I'm done.
Please, just if you know people that are just getting into it for Zelda, like encourage them to pick up the third-party games like Snipper Clips.
Mm-hmm.
Bomberman's a fun little game. It's got its bugs, and they're working them out. But like Binding of Isaac is a big one. That's just really popular with a lot of people. So I recommend that one. Just encourage people and get people excited for the indie games that are coming to help tide them over till the big A-list comes out with Mario Kart and Splatoon.
Yeah.
And also the Global Test Fire will give them something to look forward to.
Right. Absolutely. And you know what? I really feel like the indie developers are Nintendo's new third-party developers, essentially, because you're not seeing these. They're not crap games. Like Nintendo has come out and they've made it clear, like they are putting the Nintendo official seal of approval on these games, and they're not just letting anybody release games on their systems anymore. Yeah. They're being very selective, and they're putting the best of the best, and I like that. And it makes it. I really do feel like with the indie developers, it's what we got back in the SNES days and the 64 days. Like you had all these companies putting games out, and now, to be honest, and this is just my opinion, I just feel like these third-party developers, a bunch of them have these big egos about them that like, oh, Nintendo does not deserve to get our game. It's like, you kidding me? Like Nintendo, they're the kings. Like at one point in time, Nintendo, people used to beg to get their games on Nintendo's system, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's just, I hate how much it's changed. As in, like, they're not nice, you know? They're not nice about it. They're just, their claims towards Nintendo are just so stupid. That's my opinion. That's the blunt truth. They're just, they think Nintendo's a kiddie system. They think their stuff won't sell. And a lot of them put their stuff out there and they blame it on Nintendo that it didn't sell when they did half of the effort to put it in there, you know? Like they don't back it up like Watch Dogs. They didn't support it very well, things like that. And so I guess this is a good way to segue into my topic. My topic actually is of a third-party developer, and it is of, did you hear the news that came out today from Ubisoft?
No, I didn't.
I guess Ubisoft has put out an announcement that they are reaching out to Switch owners. And this makes me have a lot of respect for Ubisoft. They're reaching out to people who have the Switch, and they're going to be doing surveys this year in the summer as well. Like big surveys. They're not just like a little simple survey about things. Like they are asking, like, how are you using your Switch? How do you play it the best? Like they're doing research and studying the best way people like to enjoy their Switch, and they're taking the information and they're going to make games specifically for the Switch that people will enjoy. Yeah. So, and they're asking for feedback. I think they've even offered that they'll give you like a people $50. If I guess like you need to sign up for their email account so you can get their email changed so you can get the survey sent to you. But it gets you registered and you can get like, from what I heard, I think now don't quote me on this, everybody, but I think they said that they're even going to be giving out like a $50 discount card for like stuff down the road if you do this survey and everything. So no, I just thought that was really cool because I already know that they have stuff in the pipeline working, and to be honest, they were there for the Wii U at launch and they tried, and obviously the Wii U just didn't sell, and they were forced to put other games that was supposed to be exclusive for Nintendo on other systems to make a profit off it, and that's just unfortunate that it had to shake out that way, but they didn't get burned by Nintendo and said, see you later, like some of these other third companies, and they laugh at the thought of putting their stuff on Nintendo. No, they care about Nintendo. They have a partnership with Nintendo, and they want to make sure Nintendo thrives. And so that just gave me a lot of respect for them, and I thought that was really cool.
Oh, another thing that just popped in my head, like since we're talking about like the bigger third-party developers, like Capcom, they had some influence in the Switch, like on the RAM. Like they had told them if you want Resident Evil, we need to be running on like 4 gigs of RAM, and so like Nintendo was going to go lower than that, but they upped it for Capcom, like so that Capcom could run their Resident Evil engine on it, which is awesome. I'd love to have Resident Evil on there.
Yeah, you can play it. I ain't playing that thing, but yeah,
there's other Capcom games.
I want it on there so people who want to buy it can play it. But
here, you can have Marvel vs. Capcom on your Switch.
There you go. Well, and like even I'd love to get I guess newer Mega Man games if they pursue with that franchise more.
Yeah.
But did you hear about that Disney? This is like last week's news, but that Disney collection that is not coming to Switch. Or was that by Capcom?
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm pretty sure it was, but anyways, all I know is like it's weird because one, they were originally Nintendo games, and two, they already are supporting Switch, but yet they wouldn't bring this collection. It's not like it's this high graphic definition game. It's old games. I mean,
yeah,
it just seems kind of silly. And I mean, I guess they said tweet out at them, and it's possible if they get enough demand for the Switch, they'll bring it to the Switch, but I'm just like, it's one of those baffling things. Like, why? Like, why didn't you just put it out for the Switch? Like, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just worried that it's going to be like a Wii U thing, and there's not going to be very much of an install base. So they're like, well, if they say something, then maybe we'll change our minds. But
they put Street Fighter on there,
right? I don't see that doesn't make.
Wouldn't you think that would be a bigger game to not want to put on the system like that?
I don't really know. And there could be something with Virtual Console that maybe they're having the original games or something on there or something. I don't really know what they're doing with that. It's there's a few developers like, you're already making games for the Switch. Why are you not putting these games on there?
Right.
It's not like it can't run it. So,
well,
mysteries.
And I mean, if the Switch keeps selling, people will come. And you've been seeing reports that third parties are definitely looking into the Switch more now, that they, after the initial launch and how well it did and how Nintendo's ramped up, they've doubled production to 16 million units that they want to do in a year, which is insane, which is awesome, which will be hilarious if it does it because they outsell the Wii U's whole lifespan.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Awesome.
That would freaking be awesome. I just want a good road for Nintendo so we don't have to go through another 4 to 5 years of small droughts here and there, and always having to be on the defense about, oh no, Nintendo's good, don't give up on them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, overall, Switch feeling is pretty good, and I think most third parties will come around, and I'm really excited about the indie scene. Snake Pass comes out when we record next week, so I might.
Go ahead.
I might not be on the episode next week because I'm going to get a new game. So,
in the next couple of days, it could be next week, but they're talking about Pocket Rumble coming out.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really stoked for that one. It looks really, really tight. Like, just It looks really good, like for a fighting game, and it's weird because it's so simple. But I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah. So I wanted to run this by you real quick before we get off our Switch talk. This Switch money train, man, is going to have to start slowing down now because, as you know, I'm stopping my current job as of this Thursday. When this episode airs, will be my last day at work, and although I'm excited for the next journey and chapter in my life, not going to be making as much money, and I've already spent a lot on the Switch, so I'm not going to be. I'm going to have to go back to my roots of how I usually get games, which is birthday and Christmas, and occasionally one here and there. And so, you guys, we got Mario Kart 8 coming up, and we got Splatoon 2, and we even got ARMS, and it's just kind of like, I want to get a game because I know everyone's going to be gaming online, and that's what I'm really excited about with the Switch is playing with friends online now because I have so many more friends that I can do that with now. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not going to be able to just fork over money like that anymore, and I don't want to trade in all my old games. Like I don't like to trade in I do it very seldomly, but I guess if there's one, and I'm also stumped because of Yooka-Laylee. We don't know when it's coming out, and it's like I got to choose wisely. I know I can at least get one of the games. So either it's going to be Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 2, or ARMS. I'm thinking ARMS I can wait on until Christmas because we've never played it, and I think it'd be a nice, fun experience. At Christmas time, nice, fun fighting game there. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on when Dragon Ball Z comes out. That could be a Christmas game, too, for all I know. And then Splatoon 2, I downloaded the test fire so I can try it out and just kind of see, is this the game I want to go with? Because, Mario Kart 8, I really have, to be honest, it's the one I'm least excited for because we had Wii U stuff. And I know I didn't have as many online friends, but to be honest, everyone loves Mario Kart 8, and I don't hate it. It's not a bad game, but I just got bored with it. I didn't gold, whatever, triple star every cup like I had in past games. Like I just kind of stopped. I was just like, well, it is what it is. No one really plays with me, and just got bored. Now I know that I would have a fun time with battle mode and racing with people online. Now I know it will be a different experience. Is why I'm still considering it, but being excited about it, it's probably the one I'm least excited for, to be honest.
Okay.
So, what I'm thinking, and this is up to you, man, because I want to run this by you because you got me this game. You got me this game for Christmas here, and I'm Pokemon Sun now. Truth is, I haven't even played it really. I played it a little bit. I'm still in my baby forms of my Pokemon, and the truth is, I don't see myself getting to it anytime soon because I have Switch stuff. I never got to it very much because I had a bunch of other games too that I was trying to shuffle around. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if I want to get some of these new Switch games and game on with everybody, one of my best options would be to trade in that Sun game because I know I would get a lot of great value for it, money-wise. It's a Pokemon game, the newest one too, and so I don't know, man. What do you think? Should I do that?
It's your call, man. It's your game. Keep in mind that there's a possibility. There's a Pokemon Stars or Pokemon Eclipse or what have you. That you can get later.
That's what I'm hoping for too on the Switch.
You're not a huge Pokemon player. Like you're more into the card game than anything, like collecting the card game stuff. So.
I mean, I used to be. I really used to be back in the day. Red and Silver and even Ruby. Then I took a big break. I never have played Diamond and Pearl. Haven't touched it. Got back at White and White 2, and then I fell off a little bit again. And I tried to get X, and I got it, and I played it a little bit and stopped. And then I literally came back to it like a year or two later. Didn't know where I was, so I started over. And then I did beat the whole game at that point. I don't know. It's just the RPG style games. They just bore me. I don't like turn-based games. They don't stick with me very well. I like crazy, wacky, fun build and action games, things like that, more than anything. That's why, this Zelda game has got me hooked, because it's like, oh, we'll go over here, or we go over there, or we can do this, or we can do that, things like that. So I've been juggling that idea in my head. I haven't 100% decided, so I might do that. But what game do you think I should get? Out of the three, if you were to tell me to pick one, I can only pick one, because I'm going to be gaming with you, James, Mark, Bobby, Sean.
I don't know. See, I would throw out Mario Kart, because I'm not even probably going to be getting Mario Kart.
Oh, you're not going to get Mario Kart.
It's one of my B-list games. I'm probably now Nisa may convince me to pick up at least a copy for her, but it's not something that I'm going to be like playing like dedicated. But
so the Nintendo Nostalgia Bros might not be on the Mario Kart hype competition train.
We'll see if that changes. But the plan is right now to stick with Splatoon and maybe ARMS, but definitely get Splatoon, man. I'm going to be playing that, no doubt. I've got so many people that are hyped for that, like over Zelda even. So
yeah, it's a good game. It'll be even funner with that. I can play with people now that I know instead of random people. Okay, well, I'm still debating on everything, and I know Father's Day is in the summertime, so I might be able to squeeze an extra game in there from the wife. You never know. I'll get some gifts, and want to give me a gift, give me something I want. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'll take Splatoon 2. But again, it's all about that ukulele game too. Like they could announce it and be like, "It's coming out in May," and I'll be like, "I just bought Mario Kart 8." If that happened, I trade Mario Kart 8 in instantly. I'd be like, "Nope, I made a mistake. I'm trading this in." But okay, yeah. So we talked a lot, dude. We gamed a lot before the show. We talked a lot. Why don't we actually talk about? Obviously, we've just been playing Zelda, right?
I did get to break out 1-2 Switch and play with family.
Okay, what'd you think?
We didn't play every game, but the games that we played was fun. We had Brad and his wife come over, and
yeah.
We played a little
Brad.
bit.
Woo!
We found out that Anna is really good at the baby one.
I'm pretty good at that one too.
I think we were all pretty okay. Like I wasn't very good with the rhythm.
Yeah.
But I think I did everything else okay. Like it took me. I was the first one to go, so I had some trouble with the setting down part and realizing what it needed to. I was the guinea pig basically. So
I was really good at that actually when Traven and I played it. That was one of my favorites. I thought it was funny. Traven was awful. He purposely would like swing it hard just to get a laugh out of it, as hard as he could. I'm like, dude, you're gonna kill that kid. Oh man. But you like 1-2 Switch, or is that a game you kind of feel like the rest of us, like it's something you would come back to from time to time, but not really play a lot? Or
if I were breaking out a game at a party, I'd say I'd break out Jackbox games over 1-2 Switch. But it's cool for it's like a one and done thing. Like if you have a new people, like bring them over and have them try it out.
That's why it should have been a pack.
I played it before. It doesn't have very much replay value that really like makes me want to like go and replay it. Now there's a few of them that like for just sitting around doing nothing, like hey, let's just pop in 1-2 Switch and do some like sneaky dice or something. Yeah, that makes sense. Like nothing too involved or serious or anything.
Yeah, it's definitely something if it's like you're at home on a rainy day and you and the wife just want to do something to pass some time, and hang out. That'd be a fun game. But yeah, I think a lot of people feel this way, and I really hope they drop the price and I don't know, make it cheaper. Definitely need to make it cheaper. Me, it's just been Zelda. Besides Zelda, Becca and I did finish Snipper Clips, the 1-2 campaign. So we have beat that. We saw the credits. But there's still a bunch of the 1 through 4 player stuff that we still need to play with other people. So but that's what I've been playing. Other than that, nothing else. Cool, man. Well, I think it's time to get into what everyone's waiting for. Oh, the topic of the week. And this week's topic is our top 3 most memorable boss fights. Okay, Ryan, man, this was fun to think about. This is different than what we've been doing. We wanted to get back to some of our extra special type of episodes, and this made me think. It doesn't have to be like your main boss that we talked about. The main boss of a game. It can be, and I think like what qualifies for this show too is like I was trying to distinguish the most difficult, frustrating boss fights because those can be memorable, but in a frustrating way. And I was trying to think of just like memorable as in like I really enjoyed that boss fight, and it could have been tough, could have been a tough boss fight, but I really enjoyed it. It was unique to me or stands out to me to this day still. So Ryan, why don't you, we'll go in order. We'll go from our third to our second to our first. I'll let you start with each number, and then, tell us why that boss fight means so much to you, what you remember about it, what it was like for you, and what game it's from. So, and then I'll share my thoughts, and we'll go through this. Okay.
Okay.
All right, man. Start us off.
All right. My third pick for most memorable boss fight is The World Ends With You, the final boss in that game. Like, this story had so many twists and turns, it was almost impossible to follow what was going to happen next. And so when you get to the end, like, it pits you against this bad guy, but you find out he's actually fighting to save the world, or the world essentially. But he's also fighting to basically turn everyone into mindless zombies his way. But if he loses, then the whole world is destroyed. So, like, you're fighting against this boss character that's a bad guy, but he's kind of a good guy. Like, he has good intentions. And yet, like, and he's working as proxy for the lead guy, the composer. Yeah. And so, like, it's this game he has. I don't want to give away spoilers for those who haven't played World Ends With You, but just this dynamic of, like, he's a good guy, but he's a bad guy. And he takes control of your friends and uses their powers against you. Like, he saps the energy from him, and like just how you defeat him is just really, really awesome feeling. Like to basically you call on your friends who are trapped inside of him in this big dragon form, and like do this special like cinematic like attack against him to take him down. But there's like several different like stages to it as well when you're fighting him, and at different points in the fight, like one time he turns one of your friends against you. And it's just this long, like, series of events that happen in the fight. And it was so rewarding to finally beat that and to feel like awesome. And that, like, I just kind of just destroyed the world because I took him down. And it's like, it's crazy. But it was really well done. And the story and everything is wrapped up really nicely.
So do you lose either way? I mean, if you win and everyone dies.
Spoilers. You got to try it out, man.
What's this game rated?
I don't know, E10, teen, something like that. Probably teen.
What system was it on?
It was on DS.
Oh, okay. Huh. Maybe I'll check it out, man. To be honest, I don't think I've ever even heard of it. But you got all the special good games in there. So, okay, my number 3 pick was my picks are not any specific like game you might not have heard of. I'm pretty sure you all have heard of these games. And this one I was a little bit conflicted with because most of the times with all my picks, I'm thinking about like all the boss fights I've come across for my whole life in every game. And I was like, well, because this show's called Nintendo Nostalgia, should this be a boss fight that I did like years ago from my childhood, or can this be recent? And it's kind of a mixture of both because I chose King K. Rool from Donkey Kong Country for my number 3. And I have so many nostalgic memories with the game, but I never actually got to K. Rool or saw him as a kid. It all happened just within this past year, actually. I revisited the game. Finally, I owned it myself. And and Traven and I, he actually, because we played that as kids, he came over and we grinded through the game and we beat Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo because I bought the old cartridge and I just got a Super Nintendo for the first time. So, and then I rebeat it on my new 3DS this past after Christmas because I bought it again digitally. But no, I remember this when I got to this boss fight. It was basically this time last year, exactly around this time, maybe in April. But I remember it was just warm out. It was a nice sunny day, and Traven had been over all day, and we had been grinding through this game, dude. Just grinding through it, and I didn't know. Like when he got to the boss fight, it all happened so fast. Like I'm used to like a big level to build up, because you like most boss fights. There's like a giant hard level before you get to the final boss. And this Donkey Kong Country, spoilers if you've never played the game, guys, it's been out for a long time, so go try it out. But there's like not a big final level leading up to the final boss. When you you beat the last level in the boss you beat a boss in the final world, in Donkey Kong Country. As soon as you beat that boss, you literally goes back to the main hub map, and then you get to go to K. Rool's ship. Okay, and when you go to his ship, it instantly starts. Like the fight has already begun immediately, but it shocked me because like I remember I wasn't even looking at the screen when Traven had selected it. I think I was like looking away doing something, and all of a sudden like I heard the music, and the music threw me off, and I loved it. Like it was like it is silly. It's so silly. It is not a boss music. It is not like where you usually come into a big bad boss and it's like, grand music, or it's dark and it's eerie. It's like, no, it's like a pirate sounding. It's like, if you've heard it, it's really goofy and silly, like a Saturday morning cartoon. And I'm like, huh, what the? And then it starts to get a drum beat going, and they get a little drum roll and the bass drum kicking, and you're jumping over K. Rool, and he's like running back and forth, and he like it's so the whole atmosphere of why I love the Rare games is that K. Rool, he's so goofy. He like literally
yes.
He takes his crown off, he throws it at you, and then he looks at the screen like did you see that? Did you see that? Like smiles at you. And then Donkey Kong Day jumps on his head and he's like, oh crap. And he gets back to try to fight him and stuff. But this boss fight, as it goes, it starts off with this goofy pirate jingle Saturday morning cartoon sound, and it goes into it does like get into this like rock mood. And the way it transitioned was so cool to me. It literally gave me goosebumps. And after I heard this song for the first time when we fought him, like I had to get this song on my iPhone and download it. And so like I listen to it all the time. I do. It is one of my favorite. If I was still in a band, like this would be a song that I would have play before we would come out on stage through a track, and it would just like play, and maybe we'd come out and play the instruments to the end of the song and just to roll into the show and start your first real song. You know what I mean? How bands do that stuff. Mm-hmm. I just thought that it was so cool. I loved that. And then the boss fight, you beat after you go through all these, because it's difficult. Because you're not prepared for this boss fight, okay? Let me get one thing straight. There is all the boss fights before this are like super easy. Like they're easy as pie. I mean, it's 3 bonks on the beaver's head and he's done. 3 bonks on a bird's beak and he's done. I mean, one boss is a dumpster can that dumps off a bunch of mini bad guys that you fight all the time, and you just kill them all. I mean, it is very simple. And then when you get to K. Rool, he actually is very challenging, and it's more than just hit him on the head 3 times and you've won. Because after you knock him down, you actually celebrate. Donkey Day start to celebrate, and the screen goes a little black, gets darker, and it says the end, and it has like these credits, and they're like silly looking credits. It's not real names. It's like
it's all Kremlings.
Yeah, it's all Kremlings, and you're like the end with the question mark, and then it actually goes back, and K. Rool gets up, and he actually there's like one more round, and he's like moving faster than he has the entire game, and it's like, oh crap, because he's like jumping. He does these little like miniature hops, so you have to place yourself just right so he'll jump over you, and you have to hit him 3 more times. And that's the part that got Traven and I more than anything, because like it took us a while just to figure out the pattern to get to that point. And then when you get to that point, it's like speed up everything you just did, and it's like, oh my gosh, we died so many times doing that. We finally did it. Super awesome fight. Like it just solidifies one reason why I love this game, and I love that style of game, and it's one of my favorites. You know, just the cartoony like feel of games. So that's my number 3. So if that's
I did get to that point as a kid, like, and I beat K. Rool, or I thought I beat him, and then the credits rolled. Like, that's weird. You know, the credits were kind of silly, but then like it goes into the fight scene again where he's a lot faster, and I couldn't beat that part. And I'm like, you know what? That's good enough for me. I beat the game.
You halfway beat it. You cheater.
Hey, I was a kid. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. So then, okay, this is the first game that I owned on my Super Nintendo. So
okay. Well, now you know. So now you have to go back and play it.
I went back later and beat it all the way.
Okay, good.
Because I was like, you know what? The one thing I never did was beat that other part, so I had to go back and do it later when I was much older.
Well, all is forgiven that way. Okay. Well, I guess let's move on to our number 2. I'm that excited about number 3. I can't wait for you to hear the next 2.
Since we're talking about music, this next boss was very much like, I've not been much into music. Like, often lately I find myself playing video games without sound on, which is, I know I'm missing out on some things, but
yeah, like, you are.
this music in this game, like this boss fight, just really pumped you. And that was the Splatoon final boss fight.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was so good. Like, just not necessarily like, it had its difficulty, but it wasn't like super complex. Like, it was the basic, bounce things back at him as he launched things back, or he launched things at you, but you had to take down enemies and distractions and obstacles and things.
Yeah.
But like the music, how it progressed as you kept going, and then eventually the tide starts to turn. You're starting to win against him, and the Squid Sisters start singing their song, and things get like really amped up, and you feel super powerful. Like,
yeah, it's like
culmination of everything. The music completely changes. First, it's like the boss is the DJ. And then you completely reverse it, and suddenly the people that are backing you are doing the music, and like it just feels this awesome shift to us down. And he's so quirky, like a K. Rool type character.
Yeah, he is.
It's very similar to what your pick for number 3 is. Like, it was a very music-centric thing for me. Like, I loved the beats, and it really, really sat well with me.
To be honest, I thought that's not on my list. It did not make my top 3, but I thought about putting it on there. So I'm glad I didn't now because it's on your list. But it's no, you're right. That fight was very unique. That was my favorite part of the game. Like, I didn't get to enjoy Splatoon 1 like everyone else did and play online because, like I said, I didn't have the time in my life to really play online with everybody all the time. And when I did, I sucked. So, and I didn't really just have friends to like play with and get good against. So, but that boss fight, I wanted to beat the campaign mode. That's my favorite thing about every game. I like playing with people, but I like a good number 1 campaign mode. That's one of my issues with the biggest issue I have is the latest Smash Bros. But I really liked that boss fight. That was a good pick, man. It's really funny and quirky, and I really hope Splatoon 2 has something very similar to it. It's the music changing. It's kind of like, if you could put it in more of a serious term for everyone else, it's kind of like having Ganon play his organ in Ocarina of Time, and then when you fight him and you're beating him, it's like it switches to the hero song, and that pumps up Link. That would pump you up. That represents him, and this is like, I'm going to own you now, because I'm Link and whatever. I'm the hero. So, but in Splatoon form, and it's like the the Squid Sisters singing a pop song. So, no, I get you. Very good pick. Very good pick. My number 2. No shock here. It's a rare game. It's the final boss fight of Banjo-Kazooie against Gruntilda. Gruntilda, this boss fight is actually very hard. Rare did a good job at making their boss fights hard. Just like in Donkey Kong Country 2, the boss fight is super hard. It's harder than the first one. And the music in that was really good too, and I like that. Almost put it up in the top 3. But back to Banjo-Kazooie. No, Gruntilda, there's no easy way to put it. Like, I remember playing this game at Brad's house. This is the first time like we got it, and then I eventually borrowed it and beat it myself too, like on my own. But I remember fighting this final boss at Brad's old house when we were younger, and we basically played through this game together. And after you go around, you hit her a couple times. So the battle amps up the deeper you get, like almost any good boss fight will. But you get to this point where like all these Jinjo statues come up, and you have to avoid Gruntilda and not actually really hit her. You have to awaken these Jinjo statues. You have to like shoot eggs into them. So all the while, and the platform is pretty big. Boss arena. So you have to go around this boss arena, and the whole time Gruntilda is charging at you, throwing spells at you, and fireballs, and like they take a lot of health. Like, she is difficult. We died a good amount of times doing this. Even going back to it today, it's still hard. But you have to basically go around the whole platform. You have to awaken these like grand Jinjos. They're like, well, no, they're a bunch of mini Jinjos like in the regular game, but then they like awaken like this grand god like Jinjo, and he pops up at the end after you've unlocked all the little Jinjos, and then you've got to awaken this last one, and this is like at this point is very difficult. She is going like, it's basically like she sees her time is about to end if she doesn't do something big time, like she's screwed. And once you awaken this Jinjo, she's like, oh crap, and he basically bashes into her, and she goes flying down to the bottom, all the way down to Spiral Mountain, and a giant boulder falls on top of her. But I just remember that fight. The music is basically the song you hear the whole game. That is the most catchy song from Banjo-Kazooie. The theme song, the Hub World song, the bum 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 bum. It's that, but sped up really fast and at a higher pitch, and it's such a grand feeling, and it keeps your heart pumping. That song does. And she's always doing her little talks too. She's always like saying something weird to you throughout the whole fight to like mock you and things like that. So there's a lot of comedy into it in the middle of the fight as well. So that's one of my favorite boss fights that I chose. And the way it ends, it actually opens up Banjo-Tooie for the sequel. It starts with her years later still trapped underneath that boulder at the bottom of Spiral Mountain. So it's kind of funny and cool how the games connect like that. So that was my number 2 for the N64. My number 1 game of all time that I love. Ryan, this is the big one. Who won? My favorite game of all time didn't even win my number 1 spot of boss fights. Who won your number 1? You've got to tell me. I don't know.
It was my number 1 game of all time. However, it has been recently unseated.
Oh, no. Oh, that'll be a discussion for another episode.
So, my favorite boss fight was the one that told a story without any words. And this was the final boss fight against Mother Brain in Super Metroid.
Mother Brain.
Just getting to Mother Brain, stopping all these Metroids and taking them out just to get down to her chamber, was difficult enough. But then, you had to break her glass on her containment tube, and then you had to shoot missiles directly into the brain. And just in fashion as the original Metroid, you take it down.
Yeah.
And it's tough. And you're like, oh yeah, I totally destroyed Mother Brain. And then like, the big explosion cinematic goes on. And then you see Mother Brain like just like sitting there.
Right.
Like,
brown. She kind of like looks dead looking at that point.
And then like it breaks away and she steps out and she's like full, like has like a full body. And it's kind of weird looking because like the spine looks like there's like metal like sticking out of the back.
Yeah.
It's really kind of grotesque.
This ain't the NES anymore. This is the Super Nintendo, Ryan. So the fights have been amped up.
So it's definitely intense, and so like you're dodging her attacks. That she like drops these balls that explode and do like this wave of headed towards you to do damage to you, and like shoots like these round bubble beams at you, and you got to dodge them like while shooting her head. And then she just like completely wrecks you, and like she uses like this energy beam after a certain point. And it knocks you completely out. Like you can see Samus like breathing, but Samus can't. And you try to get up, and Samus will fall back down again. Like her suit is wrecked.
Right.
And like you see like Mother Brain like charges up to this one final blast, and all of a sudden the baby Metroid from the beginning, who's now huge, comes in, sweeps in, and like latches onto her as the beam is like trying to fire and like drains all of the energy out of her. And like slowly, like completely drains her and turns her into gray and backs her into this corner and just takes her out. And like it's just like, oh my gosh, this Metroid just saved me. And then the Metroid like detaches and then comes out after you, and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna die. But then like the Metroid like goes over top of you, and you start gaining energy, and like your energy and your missiles and everything are like filling back up. Right? I think it's just your energy and
your
like
health.
Yes, your health, and it's like, oh wow, this Metroid is actually like giving me life, like bringing me back to life. I might be able to beat this Mother Brain, Yeah. And like Mother Brain's like over here like a husk, a shell, like dead. And
so we thought.
Like as you're getting your energy charged, you start seeing like Mother Brain, like there's this like purple smoke that pops up.
Right out of her mouth.
And then she starts to change color, and then she stands back up again. And like starts attacking the Metroid that's giving you energy. And you're like, no, don't do it. And the Metroid powers up Samus all the way and detaches, and then goes after Mother Brain again. And Mother Brain does one last blast on the Metroid. The Metroid dies like right over Samus and explodes. And then like the remains of the Metroid like float down over Samus, and Samus starts glowing like rainbow. And like gives you this awesome like beam to take down Mother Brain. Like this story, like this, it's so good. Like that moment is regarded by so many why this game became like one of the greatest games of all time, because of the storytelling they did without any words whatsoever.
Yeah. And
then of course you have your usual like after you beat Mother Brain, like you have this escape scene. We have to escape the planet before it blows up.
Right.
So it's just that. The adrenaline and the storytelling was so well done for its time. Like it's definitely worthy of the
masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece.
Well, and for if you guys don't know, like the backstory, the reason like this Metroid dying and giving you health, it's really an emotional part to the story, because the game before Metroid 2, which we covered back in November or December of last year, and you saved this baby Metroid. It's supposed to be the last one in existence. And Samus basically has a soft spot for it. She watched it hatch, and it's kind of like her pet. If you had like a dog or a cat that you really were attached to, that's how she gets with this Metroid. And then
it treated her as mother.
Right. Like her mother. Mm-hmm. Well, and then it gets kidnapped at the beginning of Super Metroid, blah, 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 blah. But right before the scene where you go into Mother Brain that Ryan didn't actually get to say, you go through this room of like everything is dead. All these creatures have been destroyed. Something killed them, and it was the Metroid. And as you walk through the room, she actually attacks you. The Metroid does, and it literally just about kills you. And then like right when your health is about to go all the way out, it stops. And it remembers that, wait, you are my mother. Like Ryan said, you're my mother. You actually care for me. And it doesn't like give you back your health per se. It literally like kind of shakes and like it's like terrified and like, what have I done? What have I done? And it runs off like and regret that it just like, I can't believe I just hurt her kind of thing. And so when it comes back and saves you, it's like this epic thing that like, oh my gosh, it saved my life. But then it's emotional. Just imagine like your best friend, dying right before your eyes, and they just saved your life, and they're trying to defend you. And then literally, and I think, Other M got a bad rap, but Other M, one of the best parts about that game, Ryan, were the cutscenes. And that intro to the game was the remaking of that final boss fight. They showed it in 3D, full 3D cinematic graphics, and it was beautiful. It was like super cool. And I wish and hope that like the next Metro game has cutscenes just like that. Like, it was awesome. And you see the Metroid destroyed on you. And then like, basically it took the beam that she was using, Mother Brain was using to kill you, and gives it to Samus. And then after that, it's like Samus is probably in an all out emotional high rage. And she's just like, you're dead. And she just blasts the crap out of Mother Brain with her own beam that she was her secret weapon to kill Samus with. And and then of course you escape from the planet. Great choice, Ryan. Great number one. That is a very good pick. I that's hard to fight, man. I that Metroid is a serious near and dear to our hearts. And good pick. Well, guys, I won't hold you up any longer. Here's my number one pick, and everybody, it is the Bowser fights. Not just one, not two, but three from Mario 64. Oh, I love this fight. I just love it. It is my favorite boss fight of all time. Not one beats it. And every time a Mario 3D game comes out and they don't have a boss fight like this, I'm very disappointed. I was not impressed. Like Mario Galaxy, everyone loves that game. Mario Galaxy 2, everyone loves that game. Mario Sunshine, everyone loved that game. But the boss fights, when you fight Bowser, are not the same. And like, I'm like, why? Like, that was the most perfect way. Because I remember at this point in my mind, you got to realize, me growing up, my childhood, Bowser was always this tough being. Like, I never beat the Mario games before this when I was younger. Mario 64 was the very first Mario adventure I ever beat. And Bowser was always scary to me as a kid. In Mario Bros. 3, in our very first episode, we talked about things that scared us. Like, the music in the castle levels, the mini castle levels, like they scared me. They were very scary to play that as a little 3-year-old boy. That was terrifying to me. And Bowser was just a scary object, and I never beat him myself. And this time it was kind of like, I'm older. The N64 is like for more mature kids. I'm like 7 or 8. I'm so mature, and I just remember it was so awesome to get into the ring, and the music starts, and it's very like rock and rolling. And it's like, okay, I'm not taking your crap, Bowser. And you literally get his tail, you grab his tail, and he's like, whoa! He like he has a big yell. Cause like, okay, what's going on? And you grab his tail and you swing him around. Remember the whole purpose of the analog stick? You swing him around, and you are going really fast. It's like Ninja Turtles when Michelangelo gets swung around, and Ninja Turtles 2. And then you launch him. You launch him across the stage. You can actually throw him off the stage, and it doesn't do anything. He jumps right back up. But you launch him across the stage, and you have to throw him into a bomb. And can I just say, like, how awesome it felt? Like, you feel like you are the boss. Like, okay, like, I'm in charge here, and I'm going to kick your butt. Basically, I'm going to kick your tail. So you come in and you manhandle Bowser. You grab his tail, you swing him around, make him sick and dizzy, and then you launch him. It's easy to just launch him to one right next to you, but no, if you do it good and you're super good, you're going to launch him across the stage, land on the farthest bomb you can, and it's like a hole-in-one. Boom! He goes flying in the air, lands in the middle of the stage, and he's like literally like groaning in pain. It's like, oh, I can't believe you just did that to me, you know? So, like, it's awesome. The first two boss fights in Mario 64 are the same, like Bowser boss fights. One hit and he retreats. But then the third one is the toughest. It really is tough because he comes back and you have to hit him. You have to do that to him 3 times. And he gets stronger as the fight goes on, like all these boss fights do. And the trick is in the third hit in Mario 64 is that he actually makes the stage collapse around you. It's not as big of an arena where it's a lot easier to hit him. You can get him. I think most people probably get him to the nearest bomb that they're at. They try to get him to the edge and throw him at that bomb, which is the easiest way to do it. I've done it that way. The third fight, he literally, like, there's nothing close. Like, he breaks the stage up into a giant power star, and you have to throw him off and get lucky. I mean, you really have to be precise where he lands. And being an 8-year-old kid, yeah, it's kind of tough to just nail that sweet spot. But once you do, it is so satisfying. And just for this being my first Mario game that I ever beat, and that is my favorite Mario game of all time, very exciting, very awesome. And I really hope that Mario Odyssey can bring something like this back because it looks so much like Mario 64 did. And gosh, I loved it. Do you remember that game, Brian? Do you remember those boss fights?
How could I forget, man? That game is so good. But yes, Bowser was the best of it. Like that feeling of swinging him around, like with the joystick, like on the N64 controller, where just nothing else felt like it. And even in Virtual Console, you can't get that feeling. Like you have to go like that N64 controller and feel that,
right? That
just like rotating around, like just get ready to launch him, like, and that letting go of him, like you feel that, like. It's just, you're so in that moment, like you forget the world around you and you're just like, yeah, I'm taking this guy down. Like it was amazing that you could actually touch Bowser. Like it's crazy that you could grab him by his tail and toss him.
Beforehand, if you touched Bowser, I mean, you were screwed. Like you never are allowed to touch Bowser. That was I'm glad you said that. Like that was another reason why I loved this. He was this intouchable object. I mean, I guess maybe in Super Mario World, could you jump on his head?
I don't think I ever did. No, I don't
hit him in the head. Did. You hit him.
He's up in the air.
Yeah, he's in the clown car. You got to throw the little dudes he knocks up at him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then in Mario 1, you can't touch him. You have to hit the axe. I mean, I guess you can throw a fireball, but you physically cannot touch him.
Yeah.
And in Mario Bros. 3, it's the same way. You have to let him basically defeat himself by letting him break down the floor. No, it's this was the first time you could go up and be like, hey, come here, punk. And you just grab him. You just like all that anger, like you've been a bully all this time. I'm going to teach you a lesson. You know, the things that you probably, yeah, the things
Where's
you're not supposed to do. I want my cake now. So no, great. That's my number one. That's what I love, dude.
Great pick.
Thank you, and you too. Good. All your picks were great. I didn't know the first one, sorry, but I'm sure it was pretty sweet. The other two were good. But so guys, that's it for the show today. Next week we will have the legendary Tom back, our third part-time co-host, for an awesome episode that he has been cooking up the topic for you guys, and we'll announce that next week. But Ryan, do you want to do our due diligence?
Sure thing, man. You can listen to us on SoundCloud and iTunes. Join us on Facebook. We also have a Facebook group if you want to join in on the conversation. Talk about all kinds of news articles and our many explorations and discoveries in Zelda. And pretty soon here we'll be talking about the Global Test Fire in Splatoon, as well as Mario Kart when that comes out. Also, check us out on Twitter. We're sharing news articles all the time from different people at Nintendo_NOS. And if you want to get a hold of us, Gmail, Nintendo NostalgiaIN at gmail.com.
Awesome. And guys, one thing I wanted to say too, real quick, is please go to our iTunes and just please write us comments and just leave us a star rating, and that I know we have listeners out there, and it really helps. It'll help us grow as a show and allow us to be able to reach more people, and we want to grow because the bigger we get, like I said, we're going to be able to roll out more stuff. We have a lot of things planned, but kind of have to wait to do them. So if you don't mind, please go to our iTunes and just spread the word, write a nice review, and just give us a 5-star rating if you don't mind. So, guys, that's it. Let us know some of your favorite boss fights too, and we would love to read them on the show. If you like, what was your number one boss fighter that you love the most, that you still remember to this day? And we'd love to just share that with people if you'd like that shared. So, obviously, all these games can be found probably Virtual Console or at a retro store. Except for Banjo. Banjo's only retro, sorry, unless you want an Xbox. Don't get an Xbox. Just get the 64.
You can find World Ends With You, of course, original DS, but also there's a phone version. It's not as difficult, but it's still got the story and everything. It's got some different mechanics because obviously it doesn't have 2 screens. But it's basically the same experience, maybe just a tad bit easier, but yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Ryan, good job. I'm tired of talking to you because I want to play Zelda some more, so I'm going to get off here.
All right. Until next week, guys.
All right.
Bye.
We'll catch you later.